Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Drew Creal, and in this video, what we're going to do is compare the infamous Boss HM-2 to a slightly lesser known chainsaw sounding pedal called the DOD American Metal pedal. Stick around, you're not going to want to miss this. This video is brought to you by TrueFire, the best place on the internet for high-level instructional guitar video content. Browse through literally hundreds of fantastic guitar courses by some of the biggest names in the guitar world. No matter what style of guitar playing you're interested in, you're sure to find a high-quality video course at TrueFire that suits your needs. My personal two favorite courses are Tim Miller's Creative Arpeggio Design and Pat Martino's Nature of Guitar. I learned a ton of valuable information from those two courses, and I'm certain that you'll find something here at TrueFire that will launch your guitar playing to the next level. Click the link in the description below for a discount on your first TrueFire video course. Now let's get back to the video. All right, I hope you enjoyed that little intro song. I had a great time recording those riffs. And hopefully you got a chance to hear both pedals in action in the mix and kind of compare and contrast right away with that song. What I wanted to do first before we hear the pedals by themselves and not in a mix is I just wanted to talk briefly about DOD pedals and my more recent kind of fascination with these little boxes here. DOD is a small effects pedal company originally from Salt Lake City, Utah. They're really well known for another pedal called the grunge pedal. Let me actually grab that. Almost anybody that's been around playing guitar for as long as I have has heard of this grunge pedal, okay? And my friends and I, we all had this grunge pedal. We actually had the FX69B, like the later version, but this is the original version that says loud butt face grunge. It's a really fun pedal. I'm definitely going to do a video on this pedal at some point. It was just amazing to sort of grow up in the 90s and then have a pedal that says grunge, and then, you know, you're new to guitar, you're excited about grunge riffs. I mean, if you grew up playing guitar when I did, you were learning Pearl Jam, Stone Temple Pilots, Soundgarden, Nirvana, all of those different rock bands from the 90s. So to get a pedal that says grunge on it was a huge deal. It was very exciting. But this pedal company is sort of defunct now. They were purchased by a larger company called Harman Audio. I'm sure you guys have heard of like JBL speakers and stuff like that, and Bluetooth speakers. Well, Harman Audio owns DOD, Digitech, among several other audio companies. But they're sort of done as a company right now, which is really sad because a few years ago, a guy had sort of came on board with Harman and took over the DOD line and sort of revived it, and there's all of these reissue pedals. But more recently, when I saw the JHS Jason Lamb series video, I got kind of inspired to start collecting these pedals. So I sort of went on a quest to collect them all. And along the way, I came across this American Metal pedal, which sounds surprisingly awesome. It really has that chainsaw tone. And so that's what inspired me to do this video, is to do kind of a side-by-side comparison of these two pedals. Everyone knows this pedal. It's very coveted. There's about 1 billion different versions of it now. All of these small custom boutique companies are making their own spin on the heavy metal pedal. But it seems like DOD did something similar in the early 90s. This pedal actually came out in 1991, and several years, almost an entire decade after the HM-2, which I think came out in 1983. And if you're interested in more like sort of historical information on the Boss HM-2, I would encourage you to check out my video that I did on the HM-2 pedal. I'll put a link in the description for you. So DOD pedals has been around since the 1970s. Probably their most well-known pedal is the DOD Overdrive 250 pedal. And I know JHS has done a re-release of that circuit, which is really cool. But they made pedals all throughout the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s. But really the focus for DOD in the 1990s was Digitech, which is kind of like their sister company. And they made a ton of amazing devices during that time. One of my favorite things that Digitech has ever made is a little thing called the GSP 2101. It's like it's a digital processor. It's kind of like the precursor to the Axe effects. And of course the Digitech Whammy, which is just an infamous pedal in its own right. And they made tons and tons of different rack mount units. And I think in the 90s, the management for Digitech and DoD was really moving towards making digital stuff. And alongside that, you had the Jason Lamb series pedals. I just think they're a really cool company. They're an American company. They were thinking outside the box in terms of effects pedals, coming up with all these wacky names. And what's cool about the Jason Lamb series is Jason Lamb was, he was a tuned-in skateboarder, guitar player. He had his own punk band, so he knew what kids at the time would want in an effects pedal. And I just think that's so cool. Okay, so without further ado, let's take a listen to these two pedals. All right, you guys, so I'm just gonna do a brief comparison of these two pedals side by side so you can hear them on their own, not going through the mix. So this is my pedal board. This is my pedal board. It's actually like an ambient board right now, so all of this other fancy stuff is gonna be turned off, and we're just gonna be focusing on this. I've got some exciting things coming up where I'm gonna do a video on this microcosm, this hologram effects microcosm, really cool pedal. I'm a huge fan of the Yamaha Magic Stomp. That's like my all-time favorite sort of chorus delay pedal. This is my all-time favorite reverb, really great analog delay. Boss VB2, Wazacraft, just an amazing emotional sounding pedal. It's just awesome. But ignore all of that because we're here to talk about the dirty boxes over here. So let me just briefly explain like my signal chain. So basically my guitar goes into my volume pedal and then into the American Metal, then into the HM-2, then the pitch shifter, then the VB2. Then it goes into this first HX Stomp. This HX Stomp is basically a preamp HX Stomp. So I've got a noise gate, I've got a Timmy overdrive pedal, which is not on, by the way. And then I've got a Soldano clean channel, which sounds like this. So I just wanted a just really straight ahead clean tone for you guys to hear this thing. In a second here, what I may do is let you listen to these two pedals alongside a high gain amp. So we'll kind of save that for later. And then after my guitar signal comes out of here, it goes into this delay, then the reverb, then the Magic Stomp, then the hologram, And then after that, it goes into this second HX stomp, which is specifically for effects. So it's for delays and reverbs and all of that great stuff. So this is my ambient board. It's really fun and exciting. I'm hoping to do some more videos on this in the future, but for right now, for our purposes here today, we just want to hear what these pedals sound like. So I've got everything at 12 o'clock, and we're just going to hear what this sounds like. So. So right away, I noticed that the American Metal has like way more bass, like by a lot. Versus the HM-2, which to get that sound, you almost have to dime that bass. There you go. So to get a similar sound, you've got to go. This one seems to have a little bit more distortion at that level, but yeah, like the whole point of us being here is to turn everything up all the way, but I want you guys to hear sort of the incremental changes that happen. So let's get a little bit more level on the scene. So really the secret to this DOD pedal is when you get above, when you take the presence and you go. When you take that presence above, maybe, I don't know, like above 9, when you take it to like 8 or 9, then it kicks into this scratchy pop there. But that's when it kind of takes it into that HM-2 territory. So let's try this. Turn everything up. So let's hear what these two pedals sound like, just cranked up all the way. So here's the American Metal. And the HM-2. Two very cool chainsaw sounds, but they are a little bit different. So let's check it out one more time. But they're very similar, so you can really tell that DOD was trying to sort of enter this HM-2 market with the American Metal pedal. Now, DOD also has a super American Metal. I think it's called the FX56B, and I'm really curious to see what that pedal does. I think it has an independent bass and treble knob, so I think it's got like level, bass, treble, and distortion, similar to the controls of an HM-2. But one other thing worth mentioning is that these DOD pedals, these early ones in particular, have a sort of really peculiar design flaw in that this little button right here It's very delicate. So it's like, if the wind blows this button, it's going to turn the pedal on or off, right? Which is kind of bad. Now, the Boss pedal, as everyone who plays guitar and plays Boss pedals know, that this design has stood the test of time. It's, 30 plus years old. Right, and so when you stomp on that pedal, it's on, or when you stomp on it, it's off, right? Whereas the DOD stuff, I think that was one of the main things that sort of turned players off from the DOD design, is that push button right there. So just kind of something to think about. Okay, so the next thing that we're gonna do is try these two metal pedals with an overdriven amp, right? So we're gonna find a high gain amp inside the HX Stomp and throw the HM-2 and the American Metal in front of them. So let's check that out now. Okay, so what you're about to hear is that things are just getting warmed up, right? We're really kicking things to the next level with the tone that I'm about to show you. So on the HX Stomp over here, I've got pretty much all of my other stuff turned off, noise gates and compression and overdrive pedals, and I just have one noise gate on. If I turn it off, it sounds like that, which no one wants to hear that. So I've got one noise gate on, and then I've got the Rev Gen purple amplifier. In my opinion, it's like Rev's ultimate crushing guitar tone. I've got the settings on there pretty much at noon, for most settings. I've got a little bit more drive. Bass is 4.7, mid is 5.5, treble, I cranked the treble a little bit, but I can actually dial that back. And then I've got the channel volume just cranked all the way. So, there's my other settings on there. Things are pretty much like at 12 o'clock for all of the settings. So, and then in terms of speaker cabinet for this tone, I've got, it looks like an Own Hammer Mesa rectifier cabinet and a Marshall with G12T75. So the tone by itself sounds like this. So it sounds awesome, but you can tell that, if you really wanted to use it for a song or for a metal song, you'd want a little bit of something extra. So that's where the American Metal and the HM-2 comes in. So let's listen to what those sound like. I'm really impressed with how that sounds, and that's actually one of the tones I used in the intro song that you guys heard. So, let me know what you think of these. Like, I just think, like, hey man, for 50 bucks or 60 or 70 bucks at the old pawn shop or the garage sale, you can find one of these DOD American Metal pedals, and it really drives the front end of an amp or digital setup, so to speak, quite well. It's very fun and inspiring to play. Thank you guys so much for watching my video on the DOD American Metal pedal. I really think it's a much cheaper option to the Boss HM-2 or even some of the HM-2 clones out there. I think this pedal is really cool. And my encouragement to you would be, if you happen to see one of these for sale, just snap it up. Usually they go between $50 to $75, sometimes $100. So compared to a lot of other pedals on the market that sort of bring this sound, this chainsaw sound, I think it's a really great contender. I would really appreciate it if you liked this video and left a comment below. Please tell me your thoughts on this video. Was it a good comparison? Did you get a good idea of how these pedals sound? Turn on the notifications so you're notified every time I upload a video here on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, and have a fantastic day wherever you're at. Bye-bye.